Hey, you really want to transform your body? It's time to get real with yourself. This morning, coming up, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Well, Mornings in the Lab were excuses.
When something negative comes up,
Building muscle and blood flow.
Nobody is expecting Sean.
if the lady's saying that, you're just
Be entertained by fun over here.
How if I slept? Has my sleep been good? Is that
Good morning, nation. Good morning, nation. On a minus 26 Canadian degrees Celsius here, you got Keith Bilous coming to you. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab, the only live morning show to get your ass out of bed. Your free accountability partner. Yep, it's Transformation Week here in the lab. Today we're taking a closer look at body transformations, whether you're going up in weight or down in weight. We're going to dig into the idea of the body transformation as we get out of the holiday, as we go into the holiday season and we get closer to next year. We're all looking in the mirror going, hey, I need to transform my body. I want to lose weight. I want to gain weight. We're going to dig into what it takes to fuel the Dutch giant. No, I'm not talking Johnny Anderson. No, we're talking about a 7'2" giant, weighs over 350 pounds. And hey, if you're new to the show, you know this is an R-rated experience. We don't hold back. So if you got kids, put those headphones in, keep them fresh, so they don't hear the bad words that are going to come out of our mouth here today. And if that's your vibe, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're live every single day here, 8 o'clock Eastern time, Monday to Friday. The only morning show to help you guys get you going, get your ass out of bed, and achieve those big audacious goals. Today we got Marty, Richie, Johnny, myself. We got a guest coming up later today on the center stage. We got Ryan Sullivan coming up here. But Jimmy, you know how this works. Let's pivot over here. Let's bring the boys up. Let's see if we get everybody in black. We officially have a color palette on the show. It's the black on black with Johnny smoking the cigar with just the cloud of smoke puffing in front of us here. What's going on, boys?
what's happening?
What up? Can y'all hear me?
Good question. What does black on black mean? Why is there three?
Well, so we're all on black on black. I got black on black. So should I be a black on black?
Well, that's a good question. Are you talking black on black like one person? Or are you talking each person is black on black? There's so many blacks. I'm trying to understand what's the black.
This is true, Anderson. So I'm looking at you, brother. I love where you're going with this, man. You got the black hat, you got the black glasses, the black shirt. Probably America is fucked on your
three
shirt.
Blacks. So there's three blacks.
Yeah.
Rich is how it works.
Okay, yeah. Rich has got the black on black with the black. Always got the black headset and the black on black. Always got the brown underneath there. Marty's got the black, unless it's navy. Marty, navy blue or black?
No, it's black. It will be black on silver today. That's
black on silver with the red headset. And I, Johnny, am wearing the black on the camouflage black and the black hat with the red logo is what. So
you know what, Johnny? Keith doesn't have a clothing line. So black on black means black words on a black shirt.
No, don't bring it up because Richie's gonna get after me. But where's the clothing line? Richie, don't even go there. I know Richie.
I've been hitting him up for merch for like months now.
I've been telling Keith to get merch since March. So he doesn't understand it yet. He'll get there though. You know, we gotta keep working with the guy. You know.
Oh, hey boys, Marty. I know you got a button ready to press, and the button you're ready to press is what, Marty? When they're talking smack, exactly. Because Marty,
there we go.
We have somebody in the comments here who's Marty. What are they gonna say?
If they're talking smack, you know you're on the right track.
That's right, Jesse Miller. You like my sunglasses? I'll get you a pair. There's some chrome hearts that cost you about $2,500, brother. Oh yeah, exactly.
My question is, why are we even addressing this little bastard? Let him keep pumping up the algorithm. Don't give him attention. Shit, just let him do his thing. He's over here hitting the algorithm for us.
So, Jordan, what you're saying, Johnny, is don't poke the bear because we don't want Jesse to hang around with us, right? No, we don't want Jesse hanging around. No,
let him do what he wants to do. As long as he keeps riding our algorithm, we're fine. But we don't have to distract. Listen, Somebody throws a fuck. If I'm walking down the street, somebody throws a fucking turd at me. You think I'm going to give that motherfucker attention? No, I'm going to keep on going.
Jesse, don't recommend it, please. Because we want to go with Johnny. We don't want you to stick around. We don't want you to recommend the algorithm, because anytime you touch the content, you're telling the algorithm something, right? So please leave. Yes, go to a different channel. Don't hang around with us. That would be awesome.
You're doing it again. You can't help that turd is just too much for you to pick up and throw back, isn't it, brother?
Hey, Johnny, Marty, Richie, what's the worst lunch for your heart on transformation? Good morning, Shrine. I see you there in the comments. Hey, listen, unlike Jesse Miller, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like the channel, tell your friends about the only morning show to get your ass to the bed. And here's the question for the boys. I know Marty knows the answer to this one because he talks about his clients all the time. The worst lunch for your heart, according to a cardiologist, is what? Boys, Richie, you start, brother. Richie, you first.
I have no idea. I'll say a sandwich.
Oh yeah, with processed meat. That's a good choice. Good choice. Marty, what do you think? The worst lunch for your heart? And gentlemen, I called this on the table because a lot of you gentlemen throughout your day are going to go, I'm going to go for one of these today. And then we're all going to go, no, you don't want to do that because the cardiologist said don't do it. Marty, what is it, brother?
I got to say something fried. Any fried food?
Come on, man. Be more specific than that.
A po' boy.
No, Johnny, what are you choosing, brother? What's the number one thing that the worst lunch for your heart, according to a cardiologist?
Well, fuck, before you said one of you guys, if you were talking to us, was going to go get one, that fucked my answer all up.
No.
You know? because I was, my first thought was a fucking Big Mac or a burger, whatever the fuck they call these big burgers at these restaurants. What they call it, a Big Mac, a Burger Mac, a King Mac.
Don't act like you don't know what it is, man.
Yeah, right, Marty? Right? Yeah,
Johnny. Johnny had a couple Big Macs in his life.
Listen, I've had some before I understood what the fuck was in that shit. Of course I did, but I just said I can't remember all the names of these fuckers. They all got their own Big Mac version.
So you're on to something, Marty, Johnny. The worst lunch for your heart, according to a cardiologist, gentlemen, and this is targeted at you, gentlemen, a bacon double cheeseburger. Yeah, true story. Yeah.
From where?
Hold on. I'm going to argue that because if it's you said my shit broke up again. You said a bacon double cheeseburger.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Yeah,
organic, grass-fed, grass-finished beef with some organic fucking bacon. This is not bad for you. The shit that's bad for you is when you're going through a fucking drive-through line. If you're buying your shit in the drive-through, now you got a problem.
So it seems like the all-American choice, but this meal, gentlemen, is loaded with saturated fats, trans fats, sodium, processed ingredients.
No trans fats in what I was talking about, baby.
Well, you got the mayonnaise, you got the processed cheese slices, you got the shitty bacon. You know, consuming foods regularly may elevate LDL cholesterol, raise blood pressure, and promote inflammation.
Consuming fake foods is what it's called.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Foods, now you got a problem.
I love it.
If you put kerosene in your fucking automobile, are you going to wonder why that motherfucker won't run?
You know what, boys? So Johnny, since we talked about kayfabe last week, we need to kind of throw something on the table here where we can just kind of get into character. Kayfabe, I just can fucking throw you under the bus. We can just throw each other under the bus and have a good time with it. But listen, the cardiologist suggests this, boys. The suggestion is this: you may want to choose not to have that, and you might want to opt for a lean protein sandwich, Richie, with whole grain bread and lots of veggies for a healthier choice. Now, what I love about this is that you can talk to 10 different cardiologists, and 10 different cardiologists can give you a different answer. Right?
Yeah. Whole grain bread with vegetables is a protein sandwich.
Well, a healthy protein meat on a whole grain sandwich.
All right. You got to be specific because
yes. Right, and of course,
you pull that healthy protein made out of a goddamn vacuum sealed Oscar Mayer sack. That ain't very fucking healthy.
Well, you know what, Johnny? I'm glad you went there, brother. I'm glad you went there because I watched one of your videos, and we got to educate Business Athlete Nation about this. You go to the frozen food aisle, boys, and you find that meat, and then it says protein source is like what, Johnny? Like 13% of the 100%, and you're like, wait a minute, it's actually not meat, right, Johnny? Talk about that, where you can buy a lot of that frozen crap where it's more of not meat than actually meat.
You're buying a fucking big bag of chicken, and you roll that son of a bitch over to the ingredients. You know what you should see? You should see chicken. It's that fucking simple.
Right?
What is Vienna sausage?
Right?
when you're buying something in the frozen food section, you got to get away from the fucking the goddamn TV dinners to even have a chance at picking the right stuff.
Hey, Shrine, I don't really watch these types of videos live, but I really feel like you watch this one. Yes, so this one happens every single day here, 8 o'clock Eastern time. We do a 90-minute, 2-hour morning show. We help people get out of bed, get their asses in gear, help hit audacious goals, talk about great topics that just move the needle on life. And one of them right now is what you shouldn't eat today. And we're talking about, and Johnny's bang on, man. When you go buy meat, the ingredients should be meat. It shouldn't say 23% meat source, and then they got every other fucking ingredient in the meat, right? It's like, wait a minute, that's not meat.
Yeah.
You know, Richie, you're kind of so Richie, you asking about Vienna sauce? Is that what you asked?
Yeah. Like I've always heard stories like Vienna sausage or like you go to Oscar Mayer hot dog and it's like no shit. It's the stuff that was just on a random process line that's just fucking thrown in there and smacked together. And here's a fucking hot dog. You know, I don't know. You guys would probably know better, but when I was little, my grandmother was German, and that's like one of the closest things she could. They're not German at all, and Vienna, I think, is in Austria. But anyways, I would eat the fuck out of those things, man. Vienna sausages, but I think they're just garbage. Y'all can tell me.
Well, I mean, like there's no question about it. Like a hot dog, if you were to break down what's in that shit, I mean, it's from that animal, but it's from the shit that they're not even getting rid. They're not even getting rid of that stuff for dog food at that point. They're trying to find something to do with it. But what I'm getting at is a sausage. Like if you say, I have tons of clients that are hunters, and they'll take game meat, and they'll take their butcher and make sausages. Yeah, that's a different deal because it's a sausage. Think of a sausage as a form of meat, right? Yeah. A hot dog is a form of meat. We just connect hot dog with Oscar Mayer, and Oscar Mayer is doing us dirty.
Yeah, true story. Hey, Ryan Sullivan, I see you in the horizontal, brother. Need you to get into the vertical feed as well. There, you'll see in your instructions there are 2 tabs there. So Ryan, grab that second tab, open up a second tab, then get into the. I see you there, brother. Awesome. So so Johnny subscribes to the theory that regardless of what kind of meat it is, if I'm correct, Johnny, as long as it has one ingredient and it's meat, you can eat it because it's meat. It's just from your body. There's no processing. Johnny, it's literally as simple as that in your world, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to find when you roll over that big 10-pound sack of chicken, you're going to see chicken as the first ingredient, but you might find some variation of sodium. They're putting stuff on there to preserve it a little bit, to, make it pack better. So there's going to be a few other little things, but the first thing you're going to see is going to be fucking chicken. And the other stuff is going to, might be some sodium solution, some shit like that, but you're talking like less than 5 ingredients. And the first one is going to be what you're buying.
That's what I love.
If the first ingredient is, you can't read the first ingredient, or it's a fucking phrase summarizing what you're buying, that's not a good fucking deal.
Hey, I'll tell you the cleanest fucking meat, man. When I was in the military, all the military posts, I mean, they're pigs everywhere, right? Hogs, feral hogs everywhere.
Oh yeah, baby.
And you go down there, and when I was at Fort Benning, they put a bounty on them. At one point, it was like $40 a tail. Yeah, and it was kind of
so
sad. But you think about it. So one sow on average will have 3 litters a year, and on average 13 piglets in a litter. So almost 40 pigs from one sow. And dude, you go down there, man, and they are dumb. They are so dumb. And so you don't sit in the stand. You just walk around, and they're going to start coming up at sundown, man. We take M4s, and you just see like 3 or 4 of them running. You just like tap tap tap, and then I'd take them to the playground. I'd throw a rope around their hind legs, hang them up at the playground on the swing, just start fucking cutting them down, man. Taking back strikes, and that is the best meat, man. I'll tell you, you throw it into a fucking meat grinder, and
that's in that talk about like organic meat, man. It doesn't get any more organic than that.
Yes. All right, boys, we got Ryan Sullivan hanging out in the green room waiting for us. We're going to keep talking meat after we bring Ryan in for center stage. Talk about Ryan's morning routine. Maybe he crushes some meat first thing in the morning, or maybe he just rolls over. I don't know. We're talking meat here first thing in the morning. Mornings and Alive with Keith and friends. All right, it's time to cut the bullshit. Yeah. How many of you are chasing that transformation? Your body, your career, whatever it is, but you haven't taken a second to ask yourself why the hell you're doing it. Are you doing it because it's what you want? Are you doing it just because you're trying to impress someone else? Today, I want you to start putting honesty with yourself first. Because if you're not out here trying to change and doing it for yourself, then what the hell are you doing it for? Forget what anybody else thinks. Forget what all the ingredients say on the box. Just get the full meat. Get the full chicken. Stop trying to live up to someone else's expectations and listen, damn it, roll over and start your own. Not somebody else's, your own transformation. Your own reasons why you want it is the reason you get out of bed to get yourself going. But first, you need to cut the bullshit and get honest with yourself, your own mirror. True story. That's what we do here every single day on the Accountability Check-In, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Coming back here with Marty, Richie, Johnny, and our guest here, Jimmy. We got Ryan Sullivan. Before you bring Ryan up, Jimmy, hang tight. We're going to do this here. We got, let's bring the boys up here. We're going to do it. We're going to do a little bit, we're going to do a big opener here, Jimmy, for Ryan here today. So let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to pivot my attention to this camera over here, and I'm going to got Richie patiently waiting for us, which is awesome. So, hey, boys, we have somebody here joining us here today who's a founder and podcast coach, sharing a proven approach to using B2B podcasting for lead generation with over 100 shows. He teaches you how to turn your company podcast into a business driver. Now, Richie, Marty, Johnny, I had great fortune of hanging out with Ryan Sullivan back on Live in the Lab months ago, just like I met you guys. A lot of respect for the guy. The guy's building an incredible business in the podcasting space. He's a DJ as well. You know, he talks about why most company podcasts fail. What I love about Ryan's content is he doesn't create boring crap. He's all about entertaining and informative stuff, right? So why most company podcasts fail: product misconception, unfocused content, misguided interview strategy, improper management, like winging it or delegating to unqualified staff doesn't work. Yeah, no kidding. The successful podcast strategy starts with treating podcasts as a business. And I love where he comes to this. When you see his videos, he's always talking to founders and owners that you can't just treat a podcast like it's just kind of an also-ran. Like, what's your ROI? We'll talk about the whole business. He talks about strategic design, expert coaching. You're getting it all from Ryan Sullivan. Proven track record, 50 plus successful shows, 200,000 downloads, thousands of leads generated, hundreds of podcast episodes produced. He's got comprehensive B2B podcasting services, customized multi-platform, guaranteed results. Ryan's journey from setback, 2019, he had a turning point. 2020 had a new beginning, and now he's thriving business with his podcast principles, which is Ryan Sullivan. Nation, Marty, Richie, Johnny, let's take a quick moment, producer Jimmy, to welcome to the stage our friend, Ryan Sullivan. There he is!
Ryan, what's up, brother?
What's going on?
Guys, how we living, man? Good to see y'all. Good to meet you guys, too.
I got a question right out of the gate, brother. I got a question right out of the gate. So I've heard, and of course you hear this fucking shit, but I want to know someone to actually validate if this is true. I have heard that the average podcast has a life of 5 fucking episodes before someone quits. Is that true?
Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean,
America, 100%. Come on, man. You got to pull up your panties. Jesus Christ. You can't even hit the double digits before you lay up.
It's pretty obvious why this happens, right? Because podcasting is not easy to do. It looks easy. That's the problem. Looks easy.
Yes, right? You're right, Ryan.
So it looks like you're just talking, but look at all this stuff. We got a vertical stream, we got a wide stream. We're on all these platforms. We got like even that graphic, Keith. I need to get that graphic. That's a better media kit than I even have, right?
But anything worth a damn, anything good is going to be difficult. So when you do something that's clearly,
everybody wants to be Rogan, man. Everybody wants to be their favorite podcaster, and they're not them. So then they do the 5 episodes. Nobody listens because they're a nobody, and then they get mad about it, or they want to.
Is this worldwide, or is this just America? Is it just Americans that are faltering this? They're faltering this terribly.
John, that's a great question. I would love to see the country specific data. We only have data for all podcasts, but in terms of how many are there, there's about 3 to 4 million podcasts. I'd say probably a little bit more than that, but there's only about 500,000 active podcasts. And then if you whittle that down to the niche that you are in, no matter if it's a hobby or whatever niche, you choose the niche, right? If you go a couple steps below that niche, so say you have like pro wrestling, then you have like below pro wrestling, you might have a state or local pro wrestling, and then in that you might have a county, right, or something like that. These very niche podcasts, those are podcasts that are really taking off right now because there's these communities of people who want to listen to people that are like them, and that gap is not being filled. And if you're in a niche, most likely there's 90% of the podcasts in that niche are already dead, so you can look at what they did and how they succeeded or failed, and then you can start your own. So that's part of what we do.
Yeah. Hey, you're hanging out with Ryan Sullivan, the podcast principles dude, the podcast expert. You know, I've teased Ryan since I've met him here that I do live stuff. Ryan does podcast stuff. But listen, if you're looking for the ultimate expert in podcast experiences, you want to hang out with Ryan Sullivan. Marty, Richie, Johnny Anderson. Marty, let's throw the big old morning show question to our buddy Ryan Sullivan. Marty, what are you gonna throw at Richie at Ryan today?
I got you, Ryan. I want to make one comment though. I ain't get to get my comment in. I hate how people like they try to insult you and be like, "Oh yeah, your little podcast, you and your little podcast." Like you couldn't do a podcast if you tried.
Yeah.
But anyway, the big
I'm
question
with
that
you,
we,
man.
yeah, it's ridiculous. But the big question is, Ryan, what is your morning routine?
Oh man, this is a good question. Appreciate it, Marty. Yeah. So my morning routine, I'll give you the routine and then I'll give you my off the cuff thoughts on routines. But first, the routine is pretty simple. You know, wake up, take a shower, meditate for 10 to 20 minutes. If it's 5, it's 5. If it's 20, it's 20. And then after that, I start writing. I write posts, you know, or whatever I'm writing that day. But most likely I'm doing sales and marketing. That's the first 3 or 4 hours of my day. So in this case, Keith hits me up. Hey, can you come on the lab? Yes, this is a little early for me, but yeah, totally. But for the most part, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., I'm not even going to eat. I'm just going to drink coffee this entire time. Coffee and water, man. That's it. That's my whole morning. So I'm going to dedicate those first 3 hours of the day to work. So I have these different almost sections of the day. So that's the morning routine. I used to have a really much more complicated one. But the reality is any coach who you like, know, trust is going to probably say this, and my coach as well, which is it doesn't matter. That's the good thing about morning routines is that it doesn't really matter. As long as you get to work and you do the work you have to do, then you're good. You know, I thought that morning I would be like, look at Bezos's morning routine. Look at Bill Gates' morning routine. And then you realize that none of it matters, right? So I just do what worked for me. I've tried everything. I've tried cold showers.
Yes.
I've tried
that's
7
it.
a.m. Yeah, all that stuff.
You're doing what works for you,
night,
brother.
You know?
Yeah, that's it. You're
Exactly.
doing what works for you is the fucking ticket. You know, you know that shower and that meditation gets you in that space where you can kick ass, and that's what it's all about.
That's it, man. Keep it simple. That's also the thing. Don't
Oh
overcomplicate
man, talk about
it, right?
language there, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
There we go. You know, that's what you got to do. Make sure that you're setting yourself up, but you setting yourself up isn't, you know, causing any distraction for the things you actually have to do. And obviously, you know, what I also have to do is I got to get my girlfriend's coffee ready as well. So
There you go. Yes.
Hey, you know what's up. Come on,
Yes,
priorities,
yes.
gentlemen. Priorities.
Well, and Ryan, you know, we'd like to talk here on the show, especially those of us that have wives and partners, that we also need to make sure we have our wives' life expectancy work taken care of as well, whether that's the morning or evenings, because we know, Ryan, stats have shown that if we're doing life expectancy work with our partners, they're living longer, Ryan. So some mornings when you have the chance, you might want to make that non-negotiable time for you and your wife to make her live a little longer. So
you got to let him in on the. You got to tell him what the fucking inside joke is. He's sitting there trying to figure out what life expectancy.
Talking about,
job is, Johnny. That's what your job is, Johnny.
Oh,
Life
all right.
expectancy
See,
work
it's
is having
early.
sex.
You see, John, I was getting it right there, man. But
You were getting it.
Listen, I'm 26.
My man.
Like it can be any time.
There you
That
go.
life
Yes.
expectancy work is. I wouldn't say I'm in my prime, but I'm not in my prime.
Yeah.
Anytime,
that's why-
anywhere. My man says he'll get it done.
That's why
There we
we're
go.
always pimping, guys. What's up?
That's it. That
There
is
we go.
it. Oh, I love
There we
it.
go.
Ryan
What's up?
Sullivan hanging out here in the show.
I'm
So, Ryan,
bringing it today.
I love your morning routine question, brother, because your answer. So is it fair to say those 3 hours for you are your absolute non-negotiables? And I bring it up to you because there's guys tuning in, there's entrepreneurs tuning in, there's business guys that want to be like Ryan Sullivan, and they're going, well, I can't keep building my podcast because I keep failing after the 6th day. Or I keep not waking up on the 9th day, and they keep failing at it. But I'm hearing what you're saying is that no, these are my non-negotiables. The reason I've had this successful podcast business because every single day I found this routine that works for me, and I just do it every single day. Simple as that.
It actually is. It actually really is that, because I was a mechanic. I've worked 16 different jobs. I've done every side job that you can possibly name, like all of that. And every time I had a morning weekday, I would be on LinkedIn, right? And so here's the thing when it comes to business. If you, this is also, I'll just start with this, which is if you don't have a VA, you're the VA, right? If you don't have a sales guy, you're the sales guy. If you don't have a marketer, you're the marketer. So how does a business bring in revenue? It's through sales, right? It's through new client acquisition. It's not through leads. It's not through prospects. I don't believe that. I believe it's through client acquisition. And so whatever I have to do to increase my client acquisition, which is the lifeblood of my business, I'm going to do that in the first 3 hours of the day. I'm not going to wait till later. I'm not going to see if I have time to prospect, or maybe I'll cold call a little bit here, a little bit there. No, I have one thing that I do, right? We don't do outbound. We do organic content. That's how we bring leads right to our inbox, and then we close them half the time without even getting on a call. That system, I have to run that the first thing I do, because that's the lifeblood of my business.
You know, we could just stop the whole show there and run these 3 minutes for every entrepreneur on the planet, because people always ask me, what's the secret to business? No, it's not HR. No, it's not operations. No, it's not setting everything else up. Ryan just said it. You got to do one thing and one thing only. What do you got to do, Ryan? Sell.
That's it.
Right? It's and yet it's so hard for everybody to do. But I love that you make that the number one priority for you, Ryan, which is you move everything away, because again, what you're saying is that if you accomplish nothing for the rest of the day, at least you got your sales done.
Yeah, and you can't predict these other things, right? The only thing you can predict is the actions.
Yes.
Right? So you can't predict the outcome. And now we will once you do something enough, obviously you create systems, and you can, to an extent, predict the outcome. But you can't predict any outcomes if you don't have predictable action to start. So yeah, it's inputs and outputs. Like, that's what I've realized, even in hiring coaches, right? It's the most simple things that we really have to nail down and learn. And for some reason, those are the hardest. It's easy to jump on this AI thing. It's easy to, look, a shiny object, or, a new person I can hire that's going to elevate my business. Yeah, but for the most part, are you marketing and selling every single day? It's like, if you have that all the way up to 7 figures, maybe even 8, maybe even, that's kind of all you do, right? So
true story. Yeah.
Keep it simple.
All right, Ryan, keeping the conversation going, we're here talking transformation today. Before we let you go here in a couple of minutes, Ryan, any big transformation stories from yourself or in your life? You know, have you gone through any transformational body experiences yourself, or anybody in your world? You're like, holy smokes, that dude, that female has done this, done that. Anything you can share with us, Ryan, anecdotally or personally?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, even my own journey, I'll just make it really short. But basically, I didn't like how I looked when I was, 14, 15, 16.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the age where you go, all these people look better than me. Everybody, they're all older than me, bigger than me. So yeah, I went through that journey. I used to work out for my body, right? Because I wanted to be bigger. And then you realize, I'm not going to there's only, you're not going to get to that level where I'm not going to be a bodybuilder. I'm not going to be a power lifter, right? You go through those stages. But what I realize now is I do it for my mind, right? So I do it for not only my body, obviously, to stay healthy, but I do it for the mental side of it. And then once you do that, it becomes even more addictive. So I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people. I have, pro bodybuilders, amateur bodybuilders that I've interviewed and talked to and had them on my show when I did that show, and, gotten crazy workouts and the plans and the diet and all that stuff. And it's all great, but it's really back to the core message here, Keith, which is, are you just doing your basics? Are you getting in the gym every day, or running, or just doing yoga or something, right? And it's not just for your body, it's also for your mind too. So that's kind of my spiel on that.
Yeah. Hey boys, let's throw Ryan a final question about his business. Any question from Marty, Richie, Johnny about Ryan's business, or I'll throw one up at him?
Go for it, brother. My kid, mine right out of the gate.
So,
I was gonna say, yeah, people with a podcast or show, just it's not really a question, but just drop a gem, and anything to some type of motivation or just anything to help.
Yeah, so for sure, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, so a lot of times what happens, which we've kind of talked about, is there's a lot of comparison, right? You'll see a founder, quote unquote founder, with a lot of followers. That's not a founder. That's an influencer, right? That's somebody who has a team working behind them. So if you're going out, you're creating a podcast, you're creating content, I do not want you to look at these other people who have all of these followers, or maybe they have all these listeners or all these YouTube views or all these downloads. You got to focus on your core audience. We have shows with 100,000 downloads. We have shows with thousands of downloads. They're both successful, right? We have shows with hundreds of downloads that are successful, right? So it's all about, are you reaching the right people? It's better, not more, right? So that's what I'll leave everybody with, whether it's podcasting, content creation, clients, business, personal life, friends, family, all that. It's, you want better. You don't necessarily want quantity. You really want to focus on the quality. So if you have an audience of 200, you've just filled a room with 200 people. Be grateful, serve them.
That's great advice, Ryan Sullivan. One last thing for you, Ryan Sullivan. As we head into 2025, what are you seeing in the podcast crystal ball, Ryan Sullivan, as we head towards 2025?
I'm really, really bullish on what I would call boring businesses launching podcasts.
Yeah.
How I explain it like this is, if you have a, like Sopranos, like a garbage truck business or trash business or something like that. Imagine you have a trash business, but you actually own 10 trash businesses. Okay, well now there's only 400 people that own 10 trash businesses or 10 convenience stores or 15 gas stations. So you can start the podcast for people who own 15 gas stations. That's going to have 500 to 1,000 listeners, but there's going to be that diehard audience. So going into 2025, I'd say less broad, more specific, more niche. That's where I'm going. That's what I'm bullish on. We need these small podcasts to fill these little gaps.
Awesome. Ryan Sullivan, where can Business Athlete Nation, where can LinkedIn Nation find Ryan Sullivan and Podcast Principles to do some work with you, brother?
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, so it's Ryan R. Sullivan. You can just Google that. That's on LinkedIn, all platforms. And then if you want to find my Instagram, that's SULLYBOP, Sully Bop. I also have some music on there, so I'll let you go and Google search that and find that.
I love that. And boys, and Marty, we haven't had a podcast goat on the show before. So if I have your permission, Marty, I'd like to assign the button to Ryan R. Sullivan this morning.
You got my permission, Keith.
There we go.
There we go.
Ryan, hold on, Ryan. Don't take that fucking castrated goddamn goat sound. Ask him for a sound with a goat that's got some fucking balls, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, like two rams just fucking nailing each other.
That's
what I'm talking about, Richie. Now we're talking. You get this little wither of a goat, man. It's great.
Lambs,
It's great for a woman. A woman doesn't want to be a big beast, but come on, man.
Well, the button's coming out in about 50 minutes when Jory Janzen joins the show. She's our other goat here. But Ryan,
fits her perfectly.
Ryan, from me to you, man. When we set up this series of shows this month, and I said, hey, let's go invite some guests from Live and Lab and see who wants to show up. And I saw your name on the calendar. It brought a lot of joy to me, man. I love watching your journey. I love watching you build your business. I'm a huge fan of what you're doing, brother. And I hope you had as much fun here with us today as we had with you. And I hope you come back with us, pal. I hope you'll come back.
I had a blast. Thank you, Keith, John, Marty, Rich. Appreciate all you guys being here and just the energy on this show. It's unmatched as always, and I love to see the evolution, Keith. Really, from a podcaster perspective, I love it, man. Appreciate you.
There you go. Awesome. All right, Ryan R. Sullivan, go find him, guys. He's the go to the podcast world. You can find him on LinkedIn. All right, Ryan, have a good day, brother. We'll see you around, okay? All right.
Catch you soon. Peace.
You too. All right, Marty, you're up, pal. Let's keep it going, brother. Keep it going. Keep that energy going, pal. Do it.
Yep. All right, we got the fitness tip for today. Hey, get off the screen, fellas. It's my time, man. Keith, John, move it. Rich. All right, we got the fitness tip for today. This is a real one, man. A lot of people don't hear this. A lot of people in the fitness space don't talk about this. But when you're on your fitness journey, it is a lonely journey, right? It's going to be you versus you. It's going to be you by yourself, no one else. So a lot of you might have a trainer. You might have a gym community, workout buddy, whatever you want to call it, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever it is, right? They're not part of your journey. This journey is yours. So guess what? If they can't show up to a workout, you still got to get it in. If your trainer's on vacation, you still got to work out. Don't blame them for their lack of inconsistency or them not showing up on your lack of results. If you don't get the results, you're doing something wrong. And guess what? If you do have a workout partner or you do have a trainer, they're only with you for 1 hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 45 minutes, however long you work out. When you leave those gym doors, you go to work by yourself, you're meal prepping by yourself, you're eating by yourself. Your fitness journey still has to be a priority, and it has to still be on your brain at all times to get the results that you want, because you wanted to make the change. So stop relying on someone else for your progress. And remember, it's you versus you. And this applies in the difficult days. This applies on the hard days. This applies, when you're depressed. You still got to show up. So the journey's lonely, but you can still get it done. That's the fitness tip for today.
Marty, good one, man, because the fitness journey is lonely, isn't it, brother?
It's very lonely, man. It's very lonely.
And I look at a guy like Richie Rich who runs out there buying. So Richie's fitness journey is often very much an alone journey. Richie, talk about the loneliness when you're out there on the field, just running. But there's magic in that silence, isn't there, Richie?
There is, man. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. I ran with a group this last day, and it was weird. It was. I haven't done that in years, and I felt like I was embarrassing myself. Like, dude, just stop talking. Because nobody else was really talking. I don't know if we were running too fast, but I was so excited. And I was like, man, I don't know. Am I saying the wrong thing here? But like, I like it, man. I love just getting out there for hours and just seeing what my head can come up with. I'm okay being alone. It's not that I prefer loneliness, and I don't see it as being alone, right?
No.
Like I'm with myself.
Yes.
But I'm a trail runner. And one of my favorite books is called The Earth is Enough. And this book is written by a local from, I think, Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And it's the book is about exactly what the title reads. And when I'm out in nature running, you have the birds, the sounds of nature. And for me, man, it's the most calming thing in the world. So you get used to it and you learn to embellish it.
Yeah, I guess. Hey, good morning, good time. I see you there in the comments. Good to see you there, brother. I always happy to have you here. Good morning, Joe Fontana. Joe's sticking up for us there in the comments. Good to see you there, brother. Looking forward to connecting with you later this week. And of course, dude, isn't right? I told you guys Ryan Sullivan's a rock star.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
And I didn't realize he was 26. To have that level of discipline at 26 to get up and put those 3 hours on the table and make them non-negotiable. I don't know about you, Richie. I saw you squish your face. And Marty, I sure as hell wasn't that disciplined at 26.
Well, I don't know. I was in the military, so I kind of had to be.
You did a little discipline.
But I will say, there's a book that Keller Williams, one of their owners, Keller Williams Real Estate's a national, real estate agency or brokerage in the States. They came out with a book called The One Thing. And it really has taken off. Now they have a podcast. They even have a company now. They're doing workshops and things. But the title, The One Thing, is you find your one thing. And if you can focus on that one thing, no matter what happens throughout the day, you do that one thing, you will become successful. And so you have to find out what your one thing is. And the second thing I'll say that I love that he does. So I've always been taught that you do creativity first thing in the morning, and then you do the thing that you don't want to do first thing in the morning. That way, the thing that you don't want to do that has to be done. And if you do that first thing in the morning, that another book called Eat That Frog, then you will be successful because you're getting it out of the way. And now you can focus on other things. So creativity, the thing that has to be done that you don't want to do, and do it every day. And I love that he's only fucking 26 and he's figured that out.
Well, I love it.
I've been getting up early like that since I'm trying to think once I basically buckled down and decided, okay, it was time, it took me a little bit of squirreling around for college, but I was up. It was like, okay, I realized that if I want to get ahead, I need to be getting after this shit. I need to be putting in more. That was my philosophy with weightlifting. I put in more work, more results. So I just transferred that to business. Fuck, I was in my early 20s getting up early.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like I said, I got to know Ryan over the last year here, just through his business and on LinkedIn and on the original Live in the Lab show. And Marty, just like yourself, man, watch Ryan just showing up, just constantly, just showing up every single day, Richie, showing up. So when I put the call out for today's show, I was really, really happy that he came to hang out with us today, because I got a lot of props to the dude, and he's putting the time in. You know what I like about guys like Ryan? Is that, and very much like yourself, Richie, and not you, Johnny, because you're the same age as me, but I look at a guy like Marty, I look at a guy like Rich, look at a guy like Ryan, and Johnny, I think you can see it's like me. You can see their future, and it has nothing but success written around it, right? Like
it's one simple question: Can he continue? If he continues, the lights are out. He's got it done.
It's so true. But Johnny, you said it all the time, right? What's your quote? Don't judge the man, judge the habits behind the man, something like that, right?
Yeah, no, it's don't look at all the don't look at the cars, don't look at the houses, don't look at the bank account. Look at the habits that created all that shit.
Yeah. So again, I look at our friends. I look at Richie. I look at Marty, and I look at Ryan, and we're the two old dogs here. It just seems inevitable when I look at their future that there's nothing but success written around it. And now Richie is 10 years younger. He's got kids. He's got he's great life behind him and so forth, and in front of him. You look at Marty, who's 31. You got Ryan, 26. Like, they keep putting those habits in, boys. Fuck, man, nothing but success in front of you. True story.
You can beat 80% of people just by fucking showing up.
Yeah, so true. So hey, we're talking transformation today, and I want to lean into our buddy Richie to start the conversation. Yeah. So I apologize that I didn't have myself as organized this morning as I would have wanted, because I had two images I wanted to show. But we're talking body transformations here. And Richie, as you were heading into the military, buddy, you were one big motherfucker. And I'm not dismissing that you're not one big motherfucker now, but you've had a transformation. Just like Johnny has and Marty has, and Richie, talk about that transformation you've had. Well, I know that some of it has to do with the fact that you went through an incident there in Afghanistan.
It's called atrophy.
Yes, I understand that, but let's get into it, man. Let's get into how it's messed with your mind, your mirror, just life itself. Like, we all have these. Like, be a little bit vulnerable with me, man, because I want to. Let's start the conversation, because transformation is a thing that affects all of us. We all look in the mirror. We all either want to be bigger or smaller or skinnier or heavier or leaner, and we always want to be something that we're not. That just seems to be the case. So, Richie, talk about your journey with transformation. And I'm asking you as a friend, because it was probably something that you didn't have a lot. No, you didn't have a lot of control over it. It happened, and you have had to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Keith's right. I used to bench press well over 300 pounds. I don't know if that's still a lot. It seems like, but probably 5% body fat, and I could still run 6-minute miles, and I was just a jack solid dude. But the gym, the weight room was like, that was my fucking jam, man. Like, I fucking loved it. And so after I lost my arm, aside from atrophy, I obviously couldn't lift heavy anymore. Now, I have to do bench press and incline and basically pushing exercises with support. So a Smith machine is how I do those exercises. And my arm, and push-ups and stuff like that. But I can't, I literally can't do the amount of weight. If I did that, I have broken prosthetics, right? And my residual limb is so short that it would falls on my face, right? So dumbbells are difficult. And I, to this day, want to cry. I really do. And that happened back in 2005. And because, it was a big part of me. But what really helps is people that, even annoying as it is, and I'm sure y'all get this too, people coming up in the middle of your workout and talking to you. And, but people will come over and say, hey man, like, that's fucking awesome. You make me feel like I just want to do 10 times more now. And that, that means a lot to me. And it makes me feel like, what, man, like,
so that doesn't come across as patronizing to you, then, what you're saying. You that's motivation for you, Richie.
Yeah, it's motivational, and nobody's gonna come up to me to say, "Oh, poor you lost your arm. Now look at." Nobody means it like that.
That's because you're kicking ass, brother. You're kicking ass. You're showing you're showing these people what's possible.
Yes,
and you're opening their minds, and their fucking minds are blown, because they're like, holy shit, this guy's doing better and more than me, and he's got one fucking arm. So you are just completely opening their minds to possibility. And fuck, that's what this shit is all about, brother. I mean, I really believe, after meeting you, brother, I believe 100% that you lost your arm for a fucking reason, because you have the character to do what you're doing. Not everybody does. You were meant to lose your arm, brother.
That's incredible, Johnny. So, and maybe Richie struggles to hear that, but it's hard to argue with that, Richie, because maybe Johnny's right. Your purpose for the planet was to inspire everybody else because maybe if it wasn't Richie, the other human couldn't do what you're doing. Like I've told you since I met you, you're a superhero to me, right? So, because I can't imagine, brother, amongst us friends right now, I can't imagine what goes on in your head some days when you look in the mirror. And you said you want to cry some days, and I have nothing but love and empathy for that, because you got to find a way to stay ahead of that, right?
Well, and I'll tell you, just like what Ryan said, for me, physical fitness is my emotional stability. So this morning, my kid gets in the pantry, rips open a huge bag of corn chips, and I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm trying to put them into a baggie. And I can't, I literally, I can't get the baggie open. I rip like 3 baggies trying to unseal them. I'm crushing all the chips because I have one arm, right? And
brother, those fucking things are difficult for me, and I got fucking fingers on every. I got 10 fingers, and I struggle with that.
I know, but it's things like that like you're sitting here in the back of your head, and this is 20 years later, and you're like, God damn, one arm, you know. And the only thing I can really think about is I need to go for a run. I have to like clear my head. And so, you know, the transformation for me physically, like how I look is not I don't care. I don't think about that. It's the emotional aspect of it is really what I look at. And it's what's kept me grounded, just that drive. Even though there's been a shift from the hard weight room heavy weights, it's been, you know, somewhat replaced by another job, but it's all that physical aspect that keeps me grounded.
You said the word as we wrap this segment up. We're going to come back to this as we continue the show here, Richie. You said the word that I wanted you to get to, which was, you know, you took what you loved, which was lifting heavy. Now you take your human and you pour your fitness into running, into your mental state. And I love that, because you're like, you know what? I'm paraphrasing for him. I don't really care what the mirror looks like. I know I'm strong up here, and that's what's most important to you. And that I have a lot of respect for, man, because that's fucking hard to do, Richie. That's hard to do, right? Especially when there's mirrors everywhere. But to be able to replace what you used to love with what's going on up here, and then just recognize that what you need is a run. And I see that, that's powerful shit, man. That's powerful stuff, Richie.
Thank you. Yeah, and you know, I think everybody needs to realize it doesn't ever, your process may get better. Yeah. And your ability to control your emotions will get better, but that doesn't mean that your emotions aren't the same or similar. Yes. You just learn a new way to handle them. And so these things are still going to come up. You know, you look at John and Marty and yourself, like it's true. You're human, right? Yes. Like nobody has ever arrived. You're always in process. You're always on the way. And that's just a part of human nature, these emotional things. And we just have to learn to control them better.
I love that. Speaking of arriving, we got Johnny Anderson with the lifestyle tip coming up with us. And then we got Jory Janzen arriving. I got a topic here for you guys. Richie, I was kind of thinking about you here today when we were talking about the topic with Jory. High glycemic carbohydrates. Yeah, what we need to fuel. I know Johnny's going to lean into this as well, because it's a good conversation. I think, you know, do I have the grapes? Do I have the banana? Do I have no carbs? We're going to talk high glycemic carbs, fueling energy and so forth.
Johnny's voice is crazy.
But before we do that, we got Johnny with the lifestyle tip. Johnny's back, and the internet is ready. He's just fucking on the par today. So
no, my internet's still fucked up. I'm just going, baby.
Not letting it stop me.
No, I'm not. No more. I play offense, not defense. God damn it. Let's go. All right. Let's talk about a fast track to get what you want. Here's the thing. The most important work a person does is on themselves. If you want more, you must become more. You must develop the skill. You must develop the mindset. You must develop the things that you need to go get what you want. So when you go to work, yes, you're working, but you're not really working on your own personal development. What is it that you need to improve? Find your weakness and work on it. The most important work a man does, or a person does for that matter, is on themselves. And when you figure this out, you will get what you want so much goddamn faster. Rock and roll.
Always on offense, never on defense. Johnny Anderson. Mornings in the lab with Keith and friends. Marty, you were saying before producer Jimmy kicked you off stage there?
I was just saying, nothing stops me. That's it.
Speaking of nothing stopping anybody, we got the GOAT back in the lab here. Yes, Jory, I threw it out at somebody else this morning, Ryan Sullivan, and I got shit because, you know, I got to make our GOAT a little more masculine sounding, but it's much deserved for you here today. It's
perfect for you, Jory. Perfect for you.
It is.
Jordan.
I got to roll a little early today.
All right, Marty, you get out of here, brother. You're sticking on for now. You're getting out of here.
No, I gotta get out of here early today, but I'll be here tomorrow and Friday.
Awesome. Oh, fantastic, brother. All right, you get after it. Drive safe today, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay.
Yes,
hey,
sir.
have a good,
right,
have a good loop, my brother.
Oh, you know that.
All right, Marty.
All right, Rich, I'm out of here, man. Yep.
See you, man.
All right, Marty's out of here. We're keeping the show going. Jory, it's cold here in Winnipeg today. Let's tell our friends down in America, especially Richie and Austin, because Austin's just like directly south of you and I.
You can't tell me Celsius, dude. You can't. I don't know what that means.
Jimmy will do it for us behind the scenes. It's minus 26 degrees Celsius right now. It's just fucking cold.
All right, I will say so. We're gonna go.
It's really cold, and it's only December. It's not even January, February, and it's going to get colder, actually. All right, so listen, Jory, I threw a topic at you yesterday, high glycemic carbs. You know, we've been talking, you know, people are coming back after the holidays. We're talking about, we're talking body transformations today, and you know, somebody who's had a big body transformation is the rapper Fat Joe. And Fat Joe talked about how he has done that is on, yes, Joe, minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Fat Joe talks about how he has cut carbs out of his diet. But then some go, well, what kind of carbs do I got to cut? Is it high glycemic carbs? What the hell's a high glycemic carb? Rich is like, I got to go for a run. Do I have a banana? Do I have oats? So let's get into high glycemic carbs. What are good? What are bad? People that are tuning in wondering, what the hell is he talking about, Jory?
Let me just jump on something real quick. We're gonna have a great conversation with this. I know. Let's just recognize there's a time and a place for high glycemic carbohydrate, and if you're laying on the fucking couch, that's not one of them.
There we go.
Jory, segment's over.
See you guys.
Yeah. Jory, what the hell's a high glycemic carb? First of all.
So there's something that's called the glycemic index, and it was developed in the early 80s by a Canadian doctor out of U of T, University of Toronto, actually. So we can be proud of that.
Yes.
But I would say glycemic index is a way of measuring how quickly a carbohydrate breaks down and spikes blood sugar levels. So that's looking at what is the glycemic index. And so there's a rating scale. It rates carbohydrate foods. Now, carbohydrates, when someone says they eat no carbs, I clarify what is their definition of a carbohydrate, because, our vegetables, our fruit, our grains, even our plant sources of protein, they have carbs. Yes. But in that any case, it's how quickly in comparison to glucose, sugar, does it break down and spike blood sugar level. And so that's the glycemic index now, which is great to use as a tool. But we need to take into account different factors. So you mentioned banana. So a pretty green banana is going to be a lower glycemic index than a ripe banana, right? So depending on,
I didn't know
the
that.
ripeness of a food.
Oh, really?
Depending on how you cook a food. So an uncooked potato versus a cooked potato will be lower glycemic index than a cooked potato. So, and then there's so we're changing the glycemic load. And then when you sit down and eat like a snack or a meal, which is usually more than just, a potato, you're going to have the potato and maybe some, broccoli, which is low glycemic index, high fiber content, and then your protein, which is going to oftentimes also have a fat content. You had protein and fat, fiber, you lower the glycemic load. So it's not going to break down and spike the blood sugar. It was originally designed to see how carbs impact people who have diabetes. So that was the original reason. And now I will use it in sport. So Rich, if you're going to be, going for a long run, I would use a simple high glycemic index carb during a long, so 90 minutes to
like a banana.
And then throughout the rest of your day, I would look at, glycemic load, portion size. So if you're having half a banana versus a full banana, so it's portion size, it's combination, it's individual response. Humans are complex. So for one person, they're going to get a spike and someone else is not. So glycemic index is really a tool versus a rule, kind of. Yeah.
And that tool, I love the idea of a tool, because even the high glycemic carb, it's a tool. It's used in the right spot, just like a tool. There's a certain wrench you need for a certain job. That's what that carb is. And it's, for at different spots in an athlete's training or performance, you have a massive impact.
Yeah.
In
Richie,
a good way.
Richie.
Yes, a couple of things. So one, Jory, we've talked about bananas in the past, and because I think I brought it up, and you said that they take a little bit longer to digest. So so is that accurate? So maybe if you are going to eat a banana, obviously we've talked about you need to personalize or tailor your diet, what you're eating to yourself, but maybe don't start with eating a banana during a cardio workout. Is that?
Yeah, so for cardio workouts, if it's like a 60-minute, just sip on water. If you're in a calorie deficit, maybe you can have some branched chain amino acids during, if you want to, mostly maybe in your strength. The banana, again, it's going to depend on how you tolerate it. And also, so my daughter doesn't like overly ripe bananas, which is great. So I have to make sure that they're kind of in between. And I'm not so worried about her having the banana. She's 13 and she's going to burn it off. But if someone is sensitive to food combinations, food quantity in a sitting of carbohydrates, then I would say you pair it up with something. But a banana itself, some people handle it just fine. And then other people say they get gut rot. So it just depends on your digestive system, or do you have a slow metabolism? Yeah.
My follow-up to that is, so now, a lot of these sports companies, sports nutrition companies, was it maltodextrin?
Maltodextrin, yeah.
Okay, so can you talk a little bit about that? And is that, why are they replacing that with sugar? Why are they replacing straight up sugar with that? Are there benefits to it?
So there's what the research is showing now is using a combination of different types of sugars, because they will use different pathways. So a maltodextrin will use a different pathway than straight up sugar. So you could use a combination of different simple sugars, and it is a simple sugar. And using maltodextrin too, I mean, you're not having to have like a food source, so it's easier to consume when you're riding your bike, when you're going for a run, versus like taking something like peeling that banana or kind of thing. So it's it's simple, but it also is broken down pretty quickly, and you can use it as quick fuel. The more that you go to whole food, the more complex it starts to become, and your body has to work a little bit harder, and you don't want all the blood flow going and working on digesting the food versus going to the working muscle, right?
So it is a safe thing to use, instead of like, you have gels or goos that have straight up sugar, and some people are like, oh, well, I want sugar. I don't want some synthetic, maltodextrin in my nutrition. Is that a thing, or is it's completely safe?
Yeah, no, they've been using it for forever, and a lot of those gels will still have combination of sugars in there, just because they will get digested through slightly different pathways. So then you have that carbohydrate source fueling that longer performance versus just being all used up at the same time. Yeah, so definitely you can use a combination.
And Richie, one thing that she had said a second ago that's so important, I think, in your journey, what you're starting down this path right now, is your gut is going to be specific to certain things, and you're going to learn, oh, goddamn, this really works well. And you're as you go through this process, you're going to find the foods that digest better for you, which are going to be different than probably what people are saying, because it's real general information of what people are saying.
Well, and Johnny, you taught us a hack a number of weeks ago or a few months ago. I want you to bring it back here, because Jory mentioned it as well about the potato, and I think this is good knowledge for Richie, maybe even Joe Fontana listening in right now. But Johnny, it's this idea of freezing your potato.
Well, you don't have to freeze it. You can just put it in the refrigerator. It basically, George can get into the science. It creates a resistant starch. It makes the starch slower. It drops it on the glycemic.
It changes it. Okay.
Yeah. So Jory can get into the I'm not sure of the science behind it, but I know that's become kind of a popular thing. Or even like when my wife, when she cooks rice, she's going to put a bunch of coconut oil in it, which is going to change it as well. So she'll put coconut oil in and refrigerate it, then pull it back out. And it's different than it would have been if you just straight up cooked it.
Is that right? Interesting. Jory, commenting on that on potato.
Well, you know what? I don't know about the temperature part there. Once a food is cooked, you do change its chemistry, right?
Yes,
its makeup,
yes,
for sure.
yes.
And then with using MCT oil, it is a quicker absorption type of fat, but it still takes some time. So when you add something other than just another sugar, another carbohydrate, which carbohydrates break down into sugar, that's how it works. But when you start adding fats or proteins, then you change the load of it. So it is going to break down a little bit slower. So you just have to look at what do you need? Do you need a quick fuel source? Do you need to get that campfire really going quick? Or can you take your time and build a nice fire that's not going to burn your eyelashes off, right? So you just have to look at what is it that you're looking for.
Yeah. In this conversation, we're talking about quick. So this would be going the wrong direction. We're not in this conversation. It's the high glycemic. When we're, doing that to rice is actually bringing it down the lower on the glycemic. So that trick would be for a different conversation.
Yeah. We're talking Keith, Jory, John Anderson, Richie Ingram, Mornings Alive with Keith and Friends. We're talking the high glycemic index. I feel like, so I can see Rich has just got questions coming out of his head here. I'm looking to work towards a segment on Fridays, going some AMAs, throwing questions on the table for Jory. Let's keep this conversation going on Friday, I think, Richie, right? On glycemic. And I can see you got some questions coming up here. It's a fuel source for folks. And in many ways, Jory, it sounds confusing to those that maybe aren't familiar with it, but it's probably not confusing. However, there still seems to be a lot of confusion around the glycemic index with fruits, because it's like, can you eat too much of it? Can you eat not too much of it? Do you chase carbs because when you eat it, right?
I think, and I know John would agree with me, more than worrying if you can have a piece of fruit or not. I'd look at some other things that you can probably cut out. I'm not really worried about.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. If people are getting too worried about the glycemic index with fruit, let's look at the other shit. Put down the fucking ho-hos and the Skittles. Get that shit out of there before we start having this conversation.
What is a ho-ho?
The ho-ho was a type of like I guess you'd say like a really cheap fucking pastry in a little bag. That's the shit I used to eat when I was, somebody fucking spit on my face in a bus. I was running for a bag of ho-hos, man. That's how I cope.
But that is a good point to bring up though, Jory, right? Because I'm sure Johnny's had those clients, and Jory, you've had those clients, which is hey, so I need to know what I should have for my glycemic banana today. He goes, what'd you have for dinner last night? Well, I crushed some Cheetos. I had some ho-hos. All right, well, don't worry about what you're eating today because you're already off track on everything else, right? So
yeah, what I like about the glycemic index, though, back in the day, I don't know if you remember South Beach, right?
Yes, of course.
South Beach diet. I remember I was a brand new dietitian, and I was doing a little interview for the Free Press. And what I like about it is that it goes stages and phases. So when you need to kind of do an exciting reset, it's like, thou shall not eat these ones, but you can eat these, right? For fruit. For
Yeah.
And I think that's great in terms of like really clearing out the kitchen and getting it set up so you can be successful. So in terms of heart health, weight loss, if that's your focus, I like that it brings in stages and phases. I think that's fantastic. And if you look at, phase 3, it's a very balanced. You're not like scared to eat. Like, can I have ripe blueberries? Like, yes, you can eat ripe blueberries. So it's really just, I like it that it gives people a little bit of a roadmap of starting to fill those crispers, your freezer with, whole foods.
Yeah.
And just learning to, keep the other things for, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever it is.
There you go.
And just bring some direction and understanding that there are some better choices you can make when you're looking for a specific outcome. So I do like the glycemic index for that, but there are nuances to it. Human bodies are complex. You still have to look at yourself as an individual and what's realistic for you right now and where you can be excited to move towards. So again, not exactly a full-on rule, more of a tool to kind of gauge where you want to be.
Beautiful. Richie, feel a little better about that topic? We'll continue the conversation on Friday. We'll throw some more topics on questions on the table for Jory. So Richie, get your questions ready. Jory, stay warm today. It's cold today. It's cold.
You too. You too.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's only December.
Thanks, Joey. Appreciate you.
Only December.
It is. Jory Janzen, our resident nutrition expert, performance diet expert, Mornings in Live with Keith and Friends. Jory, have an awesome day today. We'll catch up a little later, okay?
Thanks, you guys.
Awesome. All right, Jory. Jory's out of here. We're going to keep the chat going. Going to talk body transformation with myself, Richie, and Johnny, and we've got the community corner creator spotlight coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. But boys, I want to dig into a topic here. So first of all, I got to ask the question: who needs the break? Johnny need a break?
Yeah,
Richie need a break?
And just a quick heads up, I got to be sharp at 6:30 today too.
Yeah, we'll be out here by 6:30 for sure. Richie, you got a break?
Yeah, I need to go.
Oh,
all right, you guys
I got a piss coming for sure.
The resident host is going to keep the show going here with my button presser producer, Jimmy. Jimmy, just you and me, brother. We're just going to keep getting after it here. But we're going to go through our first hour of the show here. We talked transformation. We talked about the worst lunch for your heart, producer Jimmy. We talked about, gentlemen, Joey Fontana, if you're making some food selections today, you want to stay away from the bacon cheeseburger. Even though Johnny and Richie and Marty are like, what do you mean? It's like, no, just don't have the bacon cheeseburger. There's better choices, Joey. There's better choices. Go have some clean protein, not the fried stuff. Go select some good fruit, Joe, not the fried stuff. So we got into the worst lunch for your heart. We brought Ryan Sullivan into the show as well. Ryan, our podcast expert here from Podcast Principles, hung out with us for 50 minutes ago. We talked about the future of the podcast industry, talked about his morning routine. Ryan, 26 years old, gets up every single day, 3-hour non-negotiable. Guys, if you're looking to hit audacious goals, there's no rocket science. There's no rocket science. There's no magic. What's Richie's magic might be different than Keith's magic, might be different than Johnny's magic compared to Marty's magic or Jimmy's magic. The one common denominator, we're all just showing up, putting one foot behind the other. That's the magic, as Ryan Sullivan displayed to us here today on the show here. Richie, I loved watching your facial expressions as Jory was talking, because I love the Jory segments because I can just see your fucking brain going and your notes or your brain's going. You're trying to take it in, but I love it because it's clear that every single day you take something and you're trying to be better. I love that, man.
Dude, well, I think that I'm not alone when we talk about everybody thinks, and it's true. Look, if you just show up, you will get better. But what's going to happen is at every level you plateau. So once you plateau, now you start, and I'm not there yet. Don't get me wrong. I have not plateaued yet. But once you plateau, now you start looking for finesse, micro performance things that you can look at. But the first thing that everybody always misses in the beginning is nutrition. And there are some other things. Sleep is another one, but nutrition is so fucking important because it's your gas.
Yes.
So it's one thing, yet we keep saying showing up. Yes, that's the start. Let's show up. Let's form a habit.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about, well, as John said, look, you see funny things like people at the gas station putting death in their gas tank.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, but on that level, brother, showing up, that means it's not just showing up to exercise. You got to fucking show up for your diet. You got to show up for your sleep. You got to show up for the whole fucking process. Just showing up for the training. We got plenty of people that make no fucking progress when they're showing up for that.
You know what? I love
show up is a multifaceted term.
You know what I love about that example, boys, as well? I love your example, Richie, about the car, right? So it's like you can show up to get in the car, but if there's no gas in it, or if you can't step on the pedal to move forward, you're still stagnant, right? So to Johnny's point, showing up is getting in the car. Showing up means having fuel in the car. Showing up means having a direction of where you're going to get in the car and point the direction of the car. Like there's so much more than just get into the car. It's the first step to your point, right? So.
And I will say too, once we start out on this journey, a lot of us our nutrition will naturally get better. So there are going to be things where, you're going to naturally just stop going through the drive-through, right?
Yes.
And so, but then what's going to happen is you're still going to have some bags of chips at the house, and and there's small little things and so you will get better. But dude, to John's point, like one of the things that I've really tried to do is just single ingredient foods. And I want to bring this up to Jory on
How's
Friday.
that going, brother? I've been dying to hear some feedback. How's that going, brother?
So I'll tell you this. So one, it is more filling. It is much more filling now. Because I've been heavier on protein. I did interval workout yesterday. And so intervals, I'll do like a 2-mile warm up, and then I'll do what we call strides. and then I do, just for this particular workout, 8 by 2 minutes of sprints, and then a 2-mile cool down. On my sprints, the last one, I was gassed. I mean, it was bad. I won't say bad. I was probably at a 6-minute mile or whatever, but generally, I don't get that gassed. I mean, I'm hurting, but my legs just had nothing else. I could say, hey, look, I need more carbs, right? Like I need more carb, but here's what I'm going to do. There could be so many different things at play because I just started this higher protein diet. I'm not going to just say, oh, I'm in the first week of doing this. And let me back up. I hate fucking calling things a diet, lifestyle.
Yes.
But it didn't go as planned on that, on my interval. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep eating the same way and on my next interval day, which is going to be Sunday, see if that's it. And then over a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, if I'm still seeing that, then I'm going to change something up. Maybe the
question,
then I
brother,
eat my carbs, right?
Let me ask you. So where did because what we've been talking about was a better carb source, a more digestible carb source. Where did the higher protein enter the equation? Because if we talked about that, that would have been more of a muscle building thing, not an endurance thing.
This was a decision that I decided to make because what's happening to me now is my longer distance runs are getting much faster, and so in that I'm much more sore right now, and so I need more. I know that I need more protein because I can't perform if I'm always sore, and so I've added more protein, and I did what you did. So I picked up a 5-pound fucking bag of rice. And I cooked the hell out of that shit, and I put some coconut oil. I probably fucked up because I go overboard too much, but I put coconut oil in there, I put olive oil in there, and then I put some almond butter in there. And I put a cup. It yielded 3 cups, right? 1 cup of dried rice yields 3 cups. Put all that shit, stirred it up, and I sat there with my pot, and just I ate the entire fucking thing. That was
here's the thing for sure, brother, because there's no question that single ingredient foods are going to be more filling. So that's where the next step in that is to have more frequency in your feedings. That makes sense. So try to take that 3 cups, and instead of eating it all in one sitting, eat a bunch till, okay, I register at my stomach, wait 30, 40 minutes, eat it again. So think of it like this. It's almost like a wheelbarrow. Let's just say you and I we got to move a bunch of gravel from one side of the driveway to the next. Well, if you load that fucking wheelbarrow up too big, when I pick it up, it's just going to fall over it. That wheelbarrow is not designed to work with that much weight, as your digestion is not made to really be efficient if you put too much in there at once. So try to just bring it in smaller pieces. Even if you ate that 3 cups over the course of, say, 90 minutes, it'd be different than eating it in one sitting.
Roger. Okay. All right.
Give that a crack.
Okay. All right.
I love this conversation because there's people tuning in and listening, Richie, that are similar to you or wanting to be like you, to sort of hear you living your experiences and then being coached through Johnny. That's fucking.
It's amazing. Well, I'll tell you another thing that Jory said that I thought was really interesting is that when she starts talking about load and how you can minimize or maximize load based on mixing your fats, proteins, and carbs. So depending on and I didn't know that. I had no idea. It's like, hey, you have this many calories in this or this or this. I didn't know that they offset each other.
Yeah, they go into your stomach. They're going to take an average once they go into your stomach.
That's crazy. So,
on that level, when your stomach is empty and you ingest a high glycemic fucking carb, man, bam, it's out of it. It's processing quick because it's by itself. But to say that you ate that high glycemic carb on top of a couple tablespoons of almond butter, now it's taking the average of the 2.
So hold on, Johnny. I want to go here. So what you're saying to me, empty stomach, I chucked that ripe banana in my stomach. I got
totally different than if you did it on top of a meal. Totally different.
What you're saying. So Richie, I'm looking at you, brother. So I'm running right now. My tank is empty. I'm grabbing that ripe banana, Johnny. I'm chucking it in there. All of a sudden I got that quick sugar hit, right? Because I got nothing else in there is what you're saying, Johnny, right? It's just all of a sudden sugar into the bloodstream, energy. There's no fat there to measure it out. There's nothing else. There's no protein there. It's just pure energy, Johnny.
Yeah. I mean, it's all it's like it's almost like a goddamn science experiment, because everybody responds so differently, and I think with Richie, what I'm loving about our conversations is he's putting into work to,
Yes.
high level shit. And when he figures out the formula for nutrition that works best for him, because from what I'm hearing, he's getting, and I've seen this with a lot of ultra distance athletes, is that there's a community, and the guys that are really good, they're talking about what they do. And then the guys that are younger take on that stuff, and it works great for some people, not for others. Perfect example. Prior to a bodybuilding contest, you got to carb up. You buy the muscle is like you deplete it. So then when you carb it up, it just overfills that fucking balloon. Like when you deplete, when you don't eat carbohydrates, it's like a balloon that gets kind of small and kind of wrinkly. Yes. Then before a show, you're going to carb up, and you want that balloon to fucking get stretched out so the muscle looks full. Perfect example. I cannot do that efficiently with oatmeal, but white rice is fucking bam, right? So
but you had to learn that, right? Like you had to learn that. You
100%. I had to learn that. Now, some people, it's the flip side, completely different. So as Richie goes through this journey and he starts to recognize, hey, this is working and this isn't, it's going to bring him to a whole nother level of performance, because it's putting the right fuel in the vehicle, but then the specific right fuel for that specific right vehicle is the next step. You're already putting the right fuel in based upon, your peers. But now let's find the ones that are specific to you, and that's going to be a whole different deal.
What I love about this, so I'm talking to Johnny, but Richie, I'm thinking about you. So what I love about this is, in my experience, and Ryan even talked about it earlier today, guys, that we often fail at things because we can't continue with the process. It's not working. I've been doing this for 2 weeks. Nobody listens to my podcast. I'm stopping. John, talk about how somebody looking at Richie. So Richie, you need to, so for example, yourself, did you learn in 5 days oatmeal wasn't going to work for you? Was it 2 days? Was it 3 weeks? Were like what was that journey of you recognizing that, man, this food is not working? Okay, pause, write these notes, not working. I'm now not going to eat oatmeal. Now I'm going to eat rice. Like share with me and Richie and the audience, like your journey of recognizing what doesn't work. Because I asked the question because it's about enjoying the process, not worrying about the end result. You follow me?
Are you talking to me or to Rich?
I'm talking to you, Johnny. Like how you how much time did you have to put in to learn that? Okay, I've been doing this for 2 weeks now. Clearly, oats aren't working for me. Like, was it 1 day, 2 days?
You can kind of figure this shit out. In like your stomach will bloat if it's having a hard time digesting something, provided you didn't eat too much. You got to eat a serving of something and go, fuck, how quickly did that pass through? Like when I first recognized this was a long time ago. I'm trying to think what year, probably 2000, early 2000s.
Really?
So I was eating tons of beef because it was in my strength career. I got this sponsor. I was just buying from the fucking regular grocery store, which is, at that time, we didn't even really understand organic or not organic. I get this sponsor, which is just straight grass fed. And I'm like, he's basically sending me hundreds of pounds every fucking month. It was great.
Yeah.
I started eating this stuff and I'm like, fuck, I'm getting hungry so much faster. Ground beef. But because there was no shit in there, it was straight organic. I mean, these animals were just in the fucking pasture. I was able to digest that pound of ground beef that was grass-fed, purely organic. And that was the end of the days where it was fucking purely organic. There was no fucking trickery in the labels here.
Yeah.
I could digest that probably 40% faster, which meant I could consume more. And
really?
It was, because it's like the factory is working more efficient because it's better at that. And that's what I realized. And I can't remember what happened. I was somewhere and I didn't have that. I didn't have my sponsor's beef and I was eating regular beef. I was like, fuck, I should be hungry by now. When I got back home, I was like, bam, oh my God, there it is. So it was such a clear separation. So that's where I discovered my stomach digestion and the rate of digestion. And now when we get into all different types of foods, like obviously rice versus oatmeal, but when it comes down to it, the first signal is your stomach. Is your stomach bloat, and are you getting hungry quickly, or is it carrying you beyond where you think you should? Now, obviously, you do oatmeal one day, do rice the next day, you'll be able to tell the difference if rice is better.
Yeah. Yeah, we got Mike McQuillan jumping in here saying insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Tenacity has the same definition. That's a very, very well said, Mike.
When sometimes you don't fucking know what you're doing is wrong, so you're just repeating the process, thinking you're doing the right shit, and then once you discover it, I mean, it's a fucking discovery process.
Well, that's what I mean.
The guidelines from every sport are kind of there. But now you got to figure out what's the most efficient within your guidelines. And that's the difference between guys in nutrition who really like when you get a good nutritionist, especially performance, it's all about finding, and even Jory said, you can train your gut. So when you eliminate lots of foods, you find the foods that work well for you and you only put those in there. It is the efficiency of your gut is sky high. And that's what my man here is looking for.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, too, for us, at least the way that my coach coaches me, is that there is an argument in the ultra world to not go over 4-hour runs, right? Even if you're training for a 100-mile race, there's an argument to not do it because it takes a toll on your body, right? You can do double runs, run in the morning and the evening. Well, my coach does have me doing 6-hour runs. And the reason is not necessarily to go balls to the wall for that 6 hours, which I never do. It's time on your feet. But the main reason now that I'm conditioned is for nutrition, is to figure out, because once your body passes a 4-hour mark, or for some people 3 hours, it starts to do things differently. So now I'm at 5 hours. Hey, for me, like tailwind nutrition, I can't take it. There's some other ones, like I can tell you certain brands for whatever reason, I can't take it. And sometimes you find out on that run, sometimes there's just something like, hey, something was off about that run, and you don't know. You gotta try it again because there could be other factors at play. But that nutrition is the main reason to do 6-hour runs in the ultra world.
That's perfect, brother. So you're on track now. It's just a matter of finding what is best for you. And you're putting in the work to discover it. You're putting in the work to discover it. Many people, and I've been in many different sports at a high level, and so many people just go, oh, well, these are the guidelines. And they try to, they just basically try to work within the guidelines, which is huge. But when you actually try to find what works best for you inside, now it's a whole nother level.
But John, Richie, that's the magic. And I'm as we work towards wrapping this segment up and for the most part, wrapping the show up here, I love that we're leaning into this, which is this idea of enjoying the process. Again, I go back to Ryan Sullivan. If you don't enjoy the process, you're not going to succeed at things. It's really as simple as that. Like, and I know that's oversimplifying, but you got to find a way to enjoy. Okay, I'm going to run for 5 days on oatmeal, see if it works. It doesn't work, I'm going to try rice. Because that's how you get better. And often we're like, I want to have the end result. Well, no, find a way. What's that, Richie?
John said something the other day, and I wasn't on the show. I think I was just tuning in randomly. And I might change my logo to it. The only reason I haven't is because of market reach. But fuck it is really my mantra. That is really what it comes down to, is fuck it. So I have to run anyways. Hey, man, all right, let's do oatmeal this week for every fucking run. Fuck it. And like I told a guy asked me at the trailhead. Yeah. And he was like, hey, does this trail go this way? I was like, I don't know, man. Fuck around and find out. You got to run anyways. Like, what does it matter? Yeah. And he just laughed and he was like, yeah. But if you just take this, man, fuck it. I'm jumping in. And dude, goddamn, life is so much funner that way. And you end up accomplishing a lot more. So, John, thanks for
I enjoy the process. I think it's, to me, that's the magic. When you can find a way to enjoy the process, that's when everything changes. And I think, Johnny, for something that we probably very much relate to, don't even actually have to speak the language, guys, we both enjoy the process, right? And that's just, and showing up is how we kind of symbolize it. But there's enjoyment in just trying something every single day. And Richie, same thing when I met you. Marty,
boil it down, man. Boil it down. Staying the same is no fucking fun.
No. Oh, no. Speaking of staying the same, boys, let's work towards wrapping it up here. I know you got to rock and roll, Johnny. Richie, you probably got to rock and roll as well. So me and Jimmy are going to do the creator spotlight here in a moment here. But Johnny, what do you got on the agenda today? I know you had an off day yesterday. Did you let your body relax and so forth? How did your body do yesterday, Johnny?
Oh, man, that was actually a really, really helpful piece of information. Yeah, because it was actually, I woke up this morning and realized that unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I love to train.
Yeah.
I have to give myself even more rest than I thought I did.
Oh.
So it's another step in evolution. Like this morning when I was moving around, I was like, fuck, I don't need to warm up as much as I normally do because my body is in a better space. And so, so I'm gonna switch my my training again. I'm gonna start in keep in mind, I love to train. So the discipline for me is to fucking stick to this. I'm gonna start a 2 on 1 off regime.
Oh,
and so normally I like to do, when I was a kid, I used to do fucking 6 days on. Yeah. It's, obviously a while back, I switched it to 3 on 1 off, and even 3 on 1 off is questionable. So 2 on 1 off, I'm just I guess you'd say I do it because I want to improve. And so if switching the rotation is what makes me improve, that's what I'm going to do. So
what does your day off look like though?
I don't do, number one is I don't do any sort of a lift at all. Right. No lifted up heavy shit.
Stretching or anything?
It just depends on how I'm feeling, like I definitely like to move around. I'm not dormant, that's because if I took a day off and fucking laid on the couch, which that's not me, fuck man. Like when I get sick, if I have to be in bed for a couple of days, Jesus Christ, I'm so fucking stiff. I can't stand it. Right. My body needs to move. So I like to break sweat. And when I say it can be anything, it could be bouncing on my rebounder. It could be going for a walk. It can be doing anything. It might be a little bit of a stretch. It might be, I just kind of go off of what my body needs.
Yeah. I got yoga day today. I try to make Wednesdays my midweek kind of weekend thing where I'll do Saturdays. I just do endurance. Wednesdays I really focus on go for a walk and then just do my yoga. Yoga is a good day for me on Wednesdays. So all right, Johnny. Well, Vince, man, I appreciate you. Appreciate having you on the show today. I always appreciate you, my friend. You have yourself a great, awesome day today. Richie, what do you got going on today, brother?
John. Man, I'm just working. I got a bike ride today. My kids were at the house last night. Yes, they woke up at 5 o'clock and threw me off my morning routine. And you know what, man? Fuck it, just gotta keep rolling, right?
That's it. Fuck it, baby.
Awesome.
So yeah, crashing my schedule and trying to get in a little bit more than I normally do.
Beautiful. Well, I appreciate both of you. Richie, you're gonna head out of here as well. I'm thinking right now too. You got anybody?
Yeah, I got to bounce.
All right. So we're talking relationships tomorrow, boys. Relationships in the lab. Mornings in the lab with Keith and friends. Johnny, have a great one, brother. Richie, have a great one, brother. And myself and producer Jimmy, and to keep the show going, we're gonna do the creator spotlight.
Right on. See you guys.
See you guys a little later.
Have a great loop, fellas.
You betcha, buddy. All right, guys. All right, Jimmy. The boys are heading out of here. I'm gonna introduce this little music. Yeah. I like this sound, Jimmy. I do. I think I'll make this the Creator Spotlight Community Corner sound. What's going on, nation? Myself, Keith Bilous, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends, the only morning show to get your ass out of bed, help you achieve those big, audacious goals. Usually around this time, 9:30 Eastern time, 30 minutes into the second hour, we like to take somebody over on the LinkedIn platform who's doing some pretty awesome work. Like, hey, I like what that person's doing. We like to take the old Mornings in the Lab spotlight and shine it on them. And we call it the Creator Spotlight, producer Jimmy. It's part of the community corner. We're trying to extend our tentacles to other platforms, but we're struggling to get past LinkedIn. So we're continuing to take the light and focus it on the LinkedIn folks. So this morning, Jimmy, I got the gamma right out for this one. Today we have somebody who is a visionary entrepreneur. No, we're not talking about myself. No, that's not. This is not about me. Nope. I am simply the conduit of conversation for this experience at this point in the show. But this person is a visionary entrepreneur. You notice how you talk in pauses to hang the person on. That's. Listen, if you want a trick to communicate to an audience when you're by yourself on the camera, think that you're talking to one person right now. Like I'm talking to producer Jimmy. You're speaking in a way where you're pausing to keep them along, just like I am right now with you guys. So we have a visionary entrepreneur, Jimmy, with 20 years of experience in tactical marketing. Yes, tactical marketing for Fortune 500 brands. How do you decide whether it's Fortune 100, 500, 1000? I'm always curious when I'm doing a presentation or I'm making something. So do I make it Fortune 100? Do I pick Fortune 50? Do I pick Fortune 1000? It always makes me curious which. But anyways, this guy, Fortune 500 brands. Now he's the executive director of, not going to say it because if I said it, then you know who you were. And part of this whole thing is about surprising you on LinkedIn. This fellow empowers underrepresented innovators. Woo, say that a few times. To create sustainable futures. Hey, I see you tuning into the show right now. I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Myself, I'm Keith Bilous. I'm the host of Mornings Live with Keith and Friends. Other folks are usually here, but this is a show where people come and go because it's Keith and Friends. And right now, yeah, I got no friends. It's the male loneliness thing. True story. We're continuing with our creator spotlight, Jimmy. A Fortune 500 marketing expertise. Yeah. Jimmy, I don't see this in the horizontal here. I'm going to put it up there. There we go. Boom. All right. So, guys, part of Johnson & Johnson, part of IBM Innovation Labs, Pepsi International, Procter & Gamble. Yep. Guy's been busy. AI-driven marketing solutions, brand impact reports, campaign tactical plans, brand identity recommendations, creative development. Part of the Greasy podcast, Inspiring Change, content focus, host's role, mission. He empowers global entrepreneurs with a mission of empowering entrepreneurs to create brand ventures solving global issues. Today, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends is celebrating Mickey Black. Where's my applause, Jimmy? There it is. Mickey, listen, man, a little bit different today. We usually do this. Jimmy's probably like, Keith, what do you do, man? You're not doing like you normally do. You're just kind of, you're just throwing the guy up on the screen. True story. Yeah, I did. So, Mickey, we are celebrating you today, Mornings in the Lab, Keith and Friends here. The only morning show to help you get your day started here. We like to celebrate folks like yourself who are doing exceptional work on the platform. And I'm going to pull up the old LinkedIn here of Mickey here. So you'll see Mickey, a visionary entrepreneur, change maker, empowering underrepresented innovators from Philadelphia, home of the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm sorry, Mickey, that you're part of the Philadelphia Flyers. You know, I'm a Winnipeg Jets dude here, but he spent 20 years helping Fortune 500 brands launch and execute tactical marketing programs. Mickey's worked with some of the world's biggest companies, including Johnson & Johnson, IBM, Pepsi, and Procter & Gamble. Now he uses experience to help entrepreneurs achieve their goals. As the executive director of Republic DAO, this venture capital fund's focus on working with entrepreneurs and operators in global markets to create brand ventures that solve global issues. Mickey, here's how it works, my friend. Love the work that you're doing on the platform. I invite you, Business Athlete Nation, check out Mickey's work here on LinkedIn. And I invite you, Mickey, to come hang out with us here Mornings in the Lab. What we like to do is like to invite those that we've celebrated on the show to come join us to celebrate somebody in your orbit who you think deserves to be celebrated in Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. So there we go, Jimmy. Mickey's done. Let's see here. Where's my screen again? There it is. All right, listen. I think we're going to wrap it up. Post-production. Jimmy, so you know we had a guest on the show today, Ryan Sullivan. Spectacular dude. Big fan. Big fan. So we are going to cut up the show, get some content into Ryan's inbox so he can happily share his experience with Business Athlete Nation. Fontana, hope you had a good day, brother. Hope you had enjoyed the show. Those of you that tuned in here today, this morning, Jesse Miller, I appreciate your comments. Yes. Shrine, appreciate your comments as well. Good time. Appreciate your comments. Mike McQuillan, appreciate your comments. Thanks for joining us in the show here this morning. On behalf of myself, I'm Keith Bilous. John Anderson, who's over there. Rich Ingram's over there. C. Marty's behind the wheel driving. Producer Flynn. And of course, producer Jimmy. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Mornings in the Lab. We're talking relationships. How to live a better life with a relationship. Uncle Keith's got to go to the bathroom. Yeah, standing here for 90 minutes. Time to go for a pee. See you guys tomorrow.